Is that true of you? And you like hip-hop music?
Yeah, I do. Well, the whole thing about the movie is that she's like this white girl in a black school, and she doesn't really fit in, and she's kind of a little country at first. And I love Mos Def, and I went to one of his concerts.
He was just here. Mos Def is great.
Yeah, he's really good. But I was at one of his concerts, and he, like, you know, everyone gets into it, and they start lifting their hands and stuff, and I was kind of like, ooh, yeah. And then I
realized, like you've beamed in from another planet. Yeah. These hand lifting, I must try it. You know. That's what I would be like. These strange gyrations. You know?
But you realize, like, after a while, they start saying things like, kill the crackers, and I was kind of like, oh, I can't laugh at that. Okay.
That'd be great if you're chanting along, kill the white people. Woo! Woo! I learned a new dance. Save the Last Dance is what, I don't want to tell too much of the story, but we have a clip here from the movie, and people should know the context of
what's
happening.
Well, this is the first time. I actually play a ballet dancer who's very country, and she moves to the inner city of Chicago, and this is the first time she's gone to a club, and she's trying to act cool and learn how to dance, and we'll see.
Okay, this is her first attempt at this then. All right, let's take a look at this clip from Save the Last Dance.
Got us busting off these fists. The battle crews got issues again. Same song, armed with the mega bomb. Pull you out the frame, then I'm gone. Yo, I was
on and go on and then go on. And this last 2 or 3 or 4 repetitions, that's what makes actually the muscle then grow. And that divides then one from a champion and one from not being a champion. If you can go through this pain barrier, you make it to be a champion. If you can't go through, forget it. And that's what most people lack, is on this having the guts to go in and just say, I go through and I don't care what happens. You know, it aches, and if I fall down, I have no fear of fainting in a gym, because I know it could happen. I threw up many times while I was working out, but it doesn't matter, because it's all worth it.
At 38, Elon's running SpaceX and Tesla. He's got 5 boys, he's going through a very public divorce, and he's got a new fiancée.
There are a lot of resource conflicts when you have 5 kids. At any given point, somebody's taking somebody's toy.
What's this game?
Did you just take that from your brother?
Yeah, but I want to see what game it is.
Damn it. So this is what I'm talking about. Somebody took somebody's toy. Statistically speaking, one out of the 5 has a good chance of being unhappy at any given point.
I don't know how he handles this.
Producing other people's movies. So I've given that up now. I've finally just shut down my company and have decided not to produce other people's films. Between 2 kids and also trying to be an actor and have a career as a director, that pretty much takes up all of your time. But also, it's hard on my ego producing other people's movies. I know that I'm there to serve the director, and yet at the same time I have very strong ideas about how I would have directed the movie, so you find yourself just always biting your lip. And sometimes you're there to support a director who doesn't show up, who's late, doesn't do what he said he was going to do. There's a lot of disappointments. Also, your job can be very negative. A lot of the time you spend time saying no, or you can't do that, or you should be afraid of that, or that's not a good idea because it will appear like this. And I'm kind of like a positive, cheerleading, straightforward person. I'm not very good at hiding what I really think or being negative. I'm just not as good at being negative, you know. I was born into the acting profession because I was a little kid and I did it, but you know, I'm not one of those people that like is dying to put a lampshade on their head or to do impressions. I'm just dying to do impressions. I don't need to be the center of attention. In fact, I'd rather not. I kind of don't have the right personality to be an actor. But directing is really my personality. I feel very comfortable being at the helm of something and knowing that that movie will stand for what I believe in, and having an opinion about every part of the filmmaking process, but not squashing other people's.
Iranian people find themselves in is very difficult, and I would support dissent in that country. I would support it on a number of, for a number of reasons. One, I'm not a religious person, so the idea that the government of a country owes allegiance to somebody who's called a supreme power or a supreme being who's attached to something called God, and that by and large everyone else has to kowtow to this notion is absolute anathema to me. But that's just because I don't believe in Wahe or the prophets, you know. So I'm a non-believer. I am an infidel, you know, and which might put me at risk in some situations, and some because I think it's absolute nonsense. However, I'm very happy for people to have religious beliefs and do whatever they want to do and worship in whatever way they want to, but not that they use the idea that they have an attachment to something that they call God to control everybody else, and that they could somehow enshrine what they believe to be the tablets that came down from the mountain or something that was told to a particular prophet as the rule of law. So I am fundamentally against the idea of any theocracy. Our democracies are flawed, but they're not as flawed as any theocracy. The idea of a theocracy is absolute anathema to me. So Iran is one of those theocracies, as is Israel. And, you know, there are a number of states that are theocratic in that way, and I disapprove of them all.
Has taken its toll.
There's no red frogs in the shops, you know. There's no security blankets. There's nothing you can lean on, you know, and that does bother you after a while.
Russell Crowe is back for the summer to do some serious jamming with his band 30 Odd Foot of Grunts. They begin a tour of New South Wales and Queensland in Wollongong tonight.
The strong man was dancing in the clothes that he borrowed.
You really gotta put something over to get everybody to shut up.
Dude, that's why
Because everybody's there for a night out, you know, and if you don't do something real quick, my friends are more interesting than you, pal.
Russell takes the band very seriously. They've been together for more than 10 years, and he won't cop any comparisons with Johnny-come-latelys like Keanu Reeves, who plays in the band Dogstar.
There is no real comparison anyway, that they're fitting into a kind of a musical trend thing or whatever. You know, we're just doing the same thing that we've been doing for years.
But once summer's over, it's back to his other life, to star in the Hollywood epic Gladiator.
It's going to be very cool. It's being directed by Ridley Scott. It's a Steven Spielberg DreamWorks gig, you know, 100 million US or something like that.
They've just covered your salary then?
Yeah, no, I'm doing this one for free because I figure it's a bit tight, you know. And you know, Steve, mate, he's an artist and he's got family, got mouths to feed. I said, Stevie, mate, you give me a toga, I'll do it for nothing.
Angela Bishop, 10 News.